and subscribe, please.
On this week's episode of The Pole Line, we've got South Australian Junior Speedway sidecar rider, former Australian champion, Adam Niesche. So how you doing today, Niesche?
Yeah, good yourself.
Before we get going, plug everything you want. Your sponsors, anything you want to plug it now, and we'll put
all right. So there's a few. So we got Signs One. They're like all involved in all the graphic side of the bike, making it look mint. Airs Race Pipes, they're the exhaust. So they've been in a big role. They've done a few of Dad's bikes as well. So yeah, they're killer. We also got Merv from Speak and Spokes. He does all our wheels. He's been doing our wheels. We had a few issues with the spokes coming loose, so he helps out as well. Spear Frames and Engines. He actually built the frame. I think it was back in like probably 2016, 17. He did a few junior bikes, and yeah, they all turned out heaps good. Esculent Takeaway, yeah. They obviously Dad's business, so yeah, helps out a lot.
You've probably got one of the freshest looking juniors I've ever seen. It's got one of the most mint signwright jobs, and you've got a rad riding style. So did that sort of flow on from Dad? Because all his stuff has always looked good.
As soon as his bike was like all looking blingy, like all the chrome and all that, I sort of thought that'd look good on a junior bike. So we basically just scaled down a different like design of his, and then it just got done. And yeah, we've kept it ever since.
Yeah, you and your passenger sort of gelled pretty well together, but you've also previously been a passenger. So what's it like to come from the passenger role into the rider role?
Yeah, well, I think being a passenger really helps because like you get more of an understanding of what the rider needs, how the bike feels, and like obviously, you know, all the maneuvering and all that you got to do to help it steer. So yeah, being a passenger, there's been a lot of good riders who've come out of being a passenger. So yeah, I think it's definitely a good thing.
Now, I promise this will be the last time we bring your dad up, but I was actually a fan of your dad's years and years ago, and had one of the really old school shirts. So your dad's had a pretty long career, and he's still got a lot left in him. What's it like to race the same meetings as your dad?
Yeah, it's cool, but obviously when you're riding, you don't get to watch him as much. So sometimes I'll miss out on a few of his races. So I try to watch as much as possible, but it is pretty cool to be alongside your dad lining up and stuff like that.
Now, you've got a bit of a hidden talent that most people probably don't know. You're pretty handy as a server down at Esculent. So what's the deal with that?
Yeah, so probably about 2-3 years ago. Well, the shop actually opened about 6 years ago. So I was there when that was first getting built. So I was pretty much growing up around the shop. And then most weekends, some weekdays I go in and I help out Dad for a bit, just serving customers, taking out coffees and all that type of stuff.
Now, for a few months there, your house was just invaded by dirty Queenslanders. So what was it like to have Brody and Cokie and all them hanging out down at your joint?
Yeah, they're hilarious. So it keeps us company. Cokie is a legend. Brody, they're both funny as, so it's always good to have them down here.
Now, one of your big fans that I didn't actually know of is actually Seth Party. I'm going to drop him in it now, but Sethy was so bummed out that he couldn't come on the Friday night when we all went for dinner and that. He was so nervous for racing the next night. What's it like to have dudes sort of looking up to you that sort of similar age?
Yeah, well, I met Seth probably like 3 years ago. We're at his house and I didn't really know him too well. I obviously knew Dan pretty well. So when we went him, it was pretty much like click straight away, and now we're pretty good mates. We talk a fair bit, and yeah, when we hang out, it's always a good time.
So you're in a bit of a weird position with your age and birthday because of the rules. So tell us a little bit about that with junior racing.
Yeah, so it's under 16s. So I'm turning 16 in, I think it's 10 days, 11 days. But I don't actually turn 17 till after the Aussies. So it does classify me as a senior, but we'll just, wondering about that rule. So if not, I'll be in seniors against the big boys, I guess.
And what's it going to be like? Are you going to be a rider or a passenger? Like, what are you looking at doing?
Yeah, so I was thinking about starting off as a passenger again in seniors, probably either for dad or probably dad first, and then we'll see where that takes us. I've had a few people, sort of keen to get me to try and swing for them and see how that goes, I guess.
Now, let's talk about some of the success you've had. So you're the 2021 Australian Junior Champion, and you did that with Jackson Milner. What was that like, man? That must have been unreal.
It was heaps good. It was such a good weekend because we had a houseboat up on the river. So, yeah, it couldn't have been better. So, yeah, that was heaps good. We won it. I think it was against Caden Gates. He was second, and then I believe Jake Shaw third.
And you've also finished second in the South Australian title with JP's son on the back. So what was that like, having a fill-in passenger?
He actually was it's good because he was really similar to Kobe Canning. He was pretty much same height, same weight, and they had a pretty similar style. Judd obviously races the road bike, so he's pretty good at the whole leaning side of that. The first time he hopped on, he fell off a few times because he was dropping his knee, which is like what you do on the road bike. So after that, he got used to it, and we had a good night.
Another South Australian thing, you guys are crazy. When you're riding, it's like this, like looking down underneath. Is that just a style thing for you, or do you actually find it pretty easy to ride?
Well, I started off when I was first riding, I just sort of sat up, and then after I got more and more comfortable, you sort of can do really what you want on the bike and find the fastest way to try and get around the track. So I always find it underneath is a little bit more easier for me to try and turn it. So that's just sort of what I did naturally, but everyone else does their own style, but I think that suits me all right.
Now, who's someone that you look up to in sort of seniors, and you can't say your dad, you've got to say someone else?
Oh, well, I was going to say dad, but now it's out the picture. I do like watching Trelaw race, obviously, because he's, so smooth, so fast. I like his style. He's really professional, the way he rides. And then there's been heaps of people who have helped me out, like Brody Cohen, Shane Hudson, all those guys. So those guys has definitely helped shape the way I ride, I guess.
And you couldn't have sort of three more different sort of riders, because Hutto is very tall and he sits really upright. Brody's nearly all the way off the bike, and then Trelaw's just smooth as silk around every track,
They're all really good riders. And then Mitchell Spears, another one, he's recently started riding with Glenn, so he's definitely helped out as well. But all three of those styles, I think it suits him.
Yeah, you guys have a pretty cool thing down in Adelaide. There's the guy that passed away, Bob White. He's got a junior sidecar, and for a little while there, Sethy was on it, and it's just so cool that the bikes are around, because in my state, all the guys that were in juniors are now like Dylan Blaine and Tyler Moon and all that. They're all too old for it. But do you think that's one of the big things that's helped keep the juniors alive?
Yeah, well, no, it's definitely good to have a big name like Bob White on a bike, representing the sport really well. Seth's obviously done good for his first year on a bike. Riding that one, it's probably a pretty good bike to learn on. I believe they're building a new bike now to get him going a bit quicker, but that bike's definitely a very good bike to learn on. It's helped the sport grow, I guess.
I ask everyone this, but I'm dying to know from your point of view, what do you do as a pre-race sort of ritual to calm the nerves or just to chill out a bit?
Sometimes I do listen to music a little bit in the car when we're driving up with like dad and whoever else is in the car, but mum normally packs us lots of snacks and then eat that. Gets me a bit of energy. Arbonne fizz sticks are like, my auntie, she does like these fizz sticks and they're pretty good for like energy. So if you're a bit flat, you take one of those and you feel a bit better. But yeah, besides that, you just got to not overthink it and then just ride, I guess. You don't worry too much about it. And then the outcome's like, obviously you want to win, but whatever happens, happens.
Yeah, it's funny. I get to see all you guys out on the track, and some people like Scotty Morris try and hit me with their hands when they're out there on the track, or people muck around a bit, which is so surprising to me because I would be so nervous, especially racing an Aussie title.
Depends. Like after you win a race, you feel like you can do anything. So you like you said, that guy. I don't know. Was it before or after the race he try and hit you with the hand?
I think it was before. Yeah, he had a good go. It was close.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't do it before. Maybe after for me. But yeah, I guess everyone's different. They might be pumped up and then they quick slap. Yeah.
Now, you're one of the few juniors that's sort of leading the way in something I'm trying to do with the pole line, trying to get some of the kids on here and tell their story. So, who would you like to see come on here in your sort of surroundings that you've been racing against?
I think it'd probably be good to have Caden Gates on here. He's pretty funny. He'd probably have a fair bit to tell. Yeah, maybe Lockie Coppen. He'd probably be another one. That'd probably be good to be on here.
Was he the kid on that little yellow bike?
Yeah, he goes quick. I believe he got third or first in the SA. I can't remember. But he was up there. He's been up there the whole year. So, yeah, he's riding heaps well. Same with Caden.
With your sort of racing, doing the waiter sort of stuff and all that, do you find it hard to get through school? Because I was no good at it. I just got distracted. But how do you get your schoolwork done as well as trying to do racing and everything?
Well, so at school it's all right because I've got a few free lessons now, so then I can catch up a little bit on work. But I'm doing all right. I'm not like behind in anything, so I've kept up with everything at school. I'm just ticking along nicely, I guess.
Said I wouldn't talk about your dad again, but I'm going to. So your dad's actually become one of my sponsors, and we're sort of becoming mates. And he actually did start out as a passenger for Mick Headland and that, and he's gone through to be a rider. But do you lean on your dad for advice and sort of tips on what to do?
Well, yeah, he definitely does help out like majorly with all like advice to do with like all the bike and like riding style and how to be quick, I guess. But I used to watch a lot of YouTube videos. I still sort of do on like all the Aussies, the old Aussies, and like how up close it is. You get to see a lot. So yeah, watching all that stuff, and then obviously having a dad who rides and has been a passenger definitely helps with advice and all that.
So who's worse as a parent at the racetrack, dad or mum? Like who's more nervous?
Oh, mum by far. That's not a question. Mum will close her eyes most of the race and then cheer if we win, or even if we finish, she's happy. So, yeah, as long as we're not crashing, Mum's happy.
Now, touch on that. Have you had any like sort of decent crashes or anything yet, or not really?
Well, I wouldn't say like in juniors is obviously a lot less pace than seniors, so the crashes aren't as like severe. But I've had a few crashes. Probably the worst is just like, sore hand. It doesn't get too bad, but we flipped the bike once. That was probably like up there with a bad crash, I guess you could say, for juniors.
So what goes through your mind when you flip the bike? Because I've seen seniors do it and have it so fast.
Yeah. Well, in juniors, like, you said the seniors is just way quicker, so it's a lot less time to react to it. But in juniors, normally when you flip it, you either get a restart and you're back in, and then you just got to focus on going again. So
now, as competitors go, who's someone that you've raced against a few times or whatever that you just see their name and you think, oh no, this is going to be the toughest race ever?
Jake Trelaw, 1,000%. I used to be a swinger, and I'd see his name in the program. Like, oh, no, here we go. It's going to be a good race. So it's probably even. Like, he's beat us so many times. We've beat him many times. So yeah, it's definitely good to race against him. The Fusters, they also used to be very good competition back when Jake was riding, and I believe one of them's in the seniors now, and he's killing it. So yeah, it's good to see those juniors going up to seniors and being successful.
Yeah, well, that's the thing at the moment. All you kids are growing up and jumping into the seniors. Georgie had his first year in the seniors this year, and he's doing really well. But what are sort of your plans if you don't get to race for the rest of this year? Like, are you going to focus more on footy, or what are you sort of looking at doing?
Yeah, well, I haven't been thinking about Speedway too much. Obviously, building a bike will probably be like first on the list if you're going to ride. So that'd probably be something we have to think about soon, or I guess long term. Probably at the moment just focusing on school, footy and all that stuff.
You've pretty much ticked off everything pretty quickly for me today. It's been awesome. Like, I don't really have a lot of questions left, but is there anything that anyone you want to shout out, or anyone you sort of want to thank?
Probably mum and dad, I guess, for helping out with everything. Steve Melville, he's been heaps good in the pits with dad and everything. There's Tim Clothier from Coast Power Sports. He's played a major role, really, like helping out with the bike after all the issues and supplying us with all the stuff we need to like get the bike running sweet. So yeah.
Well, thanks for being another junior to come on the pole line, man. I've been stoked on this, and hopefully the footy game's good, eh?
Yeah, hopefully they get up. It's Wineflies versus, I couldn't tell you, but it's Wineflies versus someone that should be a heaps good game, because I believe they're first and second on the ladder. So yeah, should be good.
Sick, man. Sounds like a good time.
Yeah.
Like and subscribe, please.